It's Twins Guardians with the AL Central on the line. Now, the Twins have more to lose than they have to gain, but they have to show up. This is Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello again and welcome back to Locked On Twins. I am your host, Brandon Warren, and you can follow me on Twitter at Brandon_WARNE. Thanks for making Locked On Twins your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. And of course, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. A couple of quick housekeeping items. We are going to try to be active in the comments. So again, feel free to share your opinions with us on YouTube, on Twitter, wherever else you can get a hold of us. Also, too, if you have questions you want asked and answered on the show, feel free to send them to me on Twitter at Brandon_Warner at Locked On Twins. And we'd be happy to talk to you, find out where your mind is at with the local 9 and all that fun stuff. Also, Twins post-game minutes after most games, just kind of break down what happened, try to give a little bit of context as to where it leaves the Twins after each game. But beyond that, we will also give you a stat that you won't hear anywhere else. Now, Twins open it up with the Guardians on Monday, the day this comes out. It's a 5:10 first pitch, Pablo Lopez against Lucas Giolito. And what you're going to see is, Giolito basically showing the Twins what they might have missed out on if they had claimed him. But you can catch every pitch of the Twins' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Twins. So news du jour, how we open shows sometimes and how it relates to the Twins. Twins roster stuff. Louis Varland up, Cole Sands down. Sands did a nice job soaking up innings for the Twins in the Texas Rangers finale. But now Louis Varland will probably come up in a more power reliever role. He was working in relief in St. Paul, and in fact, his last outing, he worked multiple innings and was touching 100 with his fastball. So, I mean, it's going to be curious to see where that'll sit now with some adrenaline pumping, certainly probably more so than when he was pitching for the Saints. But the fact that he got up there to 100, especially now when the Twins need some power arms in the back, is going to be interesting. So excited to see what Louis has to offer. And obviously this was lined up in a way to make it happen in the Cleveland series, the most pivotal series of the season. Chris Paddock beginning a minor league rehab on Wednesday, probably with the Saints, but it's going to be 3 innings, maybe a few outings, and then we'll see if he ends up in the bullpen too. He does have the kind of repertoire that would play up in the bullpen, so more reinforcements there. Also, Brock Stewart throwing a 25-pitch bullpen, speaking of bullpen reinforcements. So we'll see how far he is along as the season progresses down the stretch. But another arm the Twins would really like to get into commission with the big league club. Byron Buxton not going on the road trip with the Saints that starts tomorrow, but will stay back and get treatment. But it doesn't sound like it's a he's waiting for the team to get back thing, which is good because they're gone for 2 weeks. So he'll join them wherever they're at on the trip. It's a multi-team road trip, or multi-city road trip. So he'll work on his knee, and I feel like it sounded like that center field was not out of the picture. So still in that mix, but we'll see. Alex Kirilloff's rehab going to be a couple more days at St. Paul. Got to get him into full games, but beyond that, I think he's progressing nicely. All right, as far as league on a whole, Guardians take 2 of 3 from the Rays, so they come in 5 down. Meaning if they sweep the Twins, they will be 2 down. Twins 8 up if they sweep. And then everything else in the middle is in play. Probably not unreasonable to say the Guardians need a sweep here. And mostly just because if you take 2 of 3, you can feel good about it, but you still only picked up 1 game. And at this point, the Twins are, they're still playing hard, but they're also, in some respects, running out the clock. At some point you're out of games, you just can't come back from it. So great pitching matchups. We'll get into that in just a second. but both teams putting out the best that they have to offer. It's going to be, I mean, this is what you should live for as a baseball fan. Certainly more so if you're a Twins fan than a Guardians fan, because nobody wants to be 5 back in September. But still, this is what it's all about. This is what wanting to root for a competitive team is like. And so hopefully Twins fans can enjoy it regardless of what happens. Tommy Pham slams his bat into a rack, and right pinky finger contusion, did miss a game, but he's back. Now, where that ties into the Twins for me is that was a guy a lot of people wanted for the Twins to pick up to mash lefties. He's struggled a bit with the Diamondbacks in over 100 plate appearances. He's hitting .233 with a .279 on base and a .408 slugging. So not much of a difference maker, though. With that said, I don't know how much of that balances out to versus righties or lefties. But again, has not been as big of a difference maker as I think Arizona had hoped for. And if you look in the standings, that's probably true as well. Max Scherzer will make his next start Wednesday against Houston. And so he'd left his start against the Twins, hadn't even thrown 90 pitches, but won't miss a start. He was dealing with a forearm thing. So that'll be something to monitor moving forward. Former Twins pitcher Casey Legumina back in the big leagues. He was traded to the Reds in the Kyle Farmer deal. He hurt his shoulder in mid-June, but he's now back in the big leagues to give the Reds a little depth in the bullpen. White Sox DFA'd Sebi Zavala, the catcher who you've seen a fair bit of over the years, but made his big league debut on May 25th, 2019 against the Twins and was hitting, he was on the shelf, but hitting 155 with a 207 on base and a 304 slugging this season. So they're going to roll with Corey Lee and Yasmani Grandal behind the plate. So we'll see how that goes, but I don't think they're going to miss Zavala too much. And then Guardians, Tristan McKenzie had a bullpen over the weekend dealing with his UCL sprain. And I almost said Justin Bieber. Shane Bieber is also getting closer to facing hitters in live BP. Now, McKenzie, it's going to be a real challenge to get back before the end of the season. And that for the Guardians obviously stinks because he was expected to take a huge leap forward this season, but has not been able to get on the mound. Bieber has been dealing with right elbow inflammation since mid-July. It sounds like he might have a chance to get back. The only issue here is there's just not that much time to make a dent in the division if things go the way they have, and he's ready to come back in 2 weeks. Because at that point, if the Twins are up 3-4 games in 2 weeks, that's like a 99% playoff odds. So really, these two guys getting back to healthy is good for Cleveland in the sense that they'll be ready. It's just that there may not be enough games for it to actually matter down the stretch. So Twins will miss those guys, obviously. And then, as we'll talk about here in a second, the guys they miss are going to be both teams lined up their rotations for this series. We'll say that much. Our friends over at Nutrafol would like to share a message with you. And it's it's men's grooming. And so if you're looking for something to kind of make that look better and just fill out your head of hair and that sort of thing, this is definitely the way to go. You don't have to choose though between your better hair health, better hair growth, and your health. Nutrafol provides a whole body health approach for men that it promotes healthier hair. No drugs, no compromises, just better hair. So if you're a man who thinks losing hair is inevitable, you can take control of your hair's future with Nutrafol's science-backed hair growth supplements. Did you know 80% of men will experience hair thinning in their lifetime? It's perfectly normal, but it doesn't have to be your fate. You can get ahead of thinning with Nutrafol. So if you're tired of weakening or thinning hair, or you just want to get to your top potential with that head of hair that you've got there, this is the way to go. Nutrafol helps improve your hair growth, improve the thickness, like visibly, and also visible scalp coverage. Improves all of this. It's dermatologist recommended, and it is clinically shown to improve your hair growth. It's incredible. It makes it thicker, makes it look great. So go to Nutrafol.com/men and take their hair health wellness quiz so you can identify the causes of your thinning hair, then Nutrafol will give you a personalized plan for better hair health through whole body wellness. Nutrafol supports healthy hair growth from within by targeting the root causes of your thinning. It's like stress, hormones, environment, nutrition, lifestyle, all that stuff, whole body health. So you can take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com/men and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. So you can find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com/men, and that's spelled Nutrafol.com/men, and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. One more time, that's Nutrafol.com/men, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Now we're coming into the bullpen. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Make sure to check out the show as the week goes on. We have another Twins former prospect who's going to hop on the show, Tom Hackemer. So we are working on scheduling that. But other than that, this Guardian series is going to be incredible baseball to watch. Hopefully the Twins show up. Hopefully they show out. But Twins Guardians open the series Monday at 5:10 p.m. It's Pablo Day against Lucas Giolito. Twins have obviously seen a lot of Giolito against the White Sox. And if they can get the ball up in the air, he has shown a penchant for giving up home runs. So we'll see how that goes. But you can catch every pitch of the Twins hometown broadcast with, well, it was Chris Atterbury and Paul Molitor in the Ranger series. So we'll see who it is in this one, but you can find them on SXM, SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Twins. So Twins take 2 of 3 from the Rangers. And I know there were some people who weren't super in love with how the game was managed. The Twins lose 6-5. And if you look at the list of pitchers the Twins used out of the bullpen, it's a short list. Cole Sands, Cody Funderburk, Josh Winder. So Kenta Maeda got out by the skin of his teeth, 5 innings, 3 earned, 80 pitches. To be in the game at that point was pretty incredible, considering that Maeda gave up 3 in the first inning and looked like he could have given up 3 in any subsequent inning. So he did pretty much everything the Twins needed him to following the first inning. But Twins walked off in the 9th. Josh Winder gives up a walk-off homer to Adolis Garcia. Just an absolute tank job. Also, Garcia's 100th RBI of the season, which is incredible because there's still the bulk of September to go. But, yeah, Josh Winder didn't waste too much time giving up that homer. And that was that. But what it did, so Kenta Maeda making the last start against the Rangers and using this bullpen means that the Twins can come into the series all set up, pitching-wise, all set up, bullpen-wise, all set up, you name it. So you, if you're a Guardians fan, will not see Dallas Keuchel and you won't see Kenta Maeda. For the Twins' sake, that's exactly what they want. And from the bullpen side of things, Duran, Jax, Pagan, and Thielbar all got a day off after working on Saturday. And in fact, Thielbar, Jax, and Duran had worked 3 of the last 4. So ample workloads for those guys. Pagan had worked in 3 of the last 5 days. Twins off Thursday, so not 3 of the last 4 with that off day, but 3 of the last 4 days. And so they're more or less just kind of rip roaring, ready to go. Anybody should be available. Anybody should be where they need them to. So it'll just basically come down to, what kind of outing Pablo gives them. Because, it would really, truly be ideal if he could go 7-8 innings, turn it over to the back end of the bullpen for a W, and still keep a lot of the bullpen intact for the rest of the series. Because, again, it's going to be really good pitching matchups all 3 games. So to have the rotation lined up perfectly and to have the bullpen 100% ready to go, I don't think you can overstate what that means from a preparation standpoint. Now, again, people will say, if they don't win all 3 games, what happened? Well, preparation is just getting yourself ready. They could be 100% prepared and still lose because it's just kind of how it goes. So I will be curious to see how the series goes just from a obviously results standpoint, and to see if the Twins can, probably for the first time all season, step on the gas pedal and in some respects step on Cleveland's throats too, because the Twins have just not shown that tendency, that desire to run away with the division. And I feel like Chicago obviously was willing to let that happen, Detroit, Kansas City, etc. But Cleveland is hanging around just enough to be annoying. And that's what a team like Cleveland is annoying. I mean, also too, like the waiver claims don't bother me. The three guys they got, I mean, they literally revamped a pitching staff on the fly. I'm more annoyed with the Angels for dumping the guys the way they did. But then, the Guardians, I don't want to say punted the deadline. Aaron Savali shoved for the Rays today. So if Giolito pitches poorly, that's certainly going to be a talking point. But it's just strange to see the team kind of push their chips in later in the season, further back than they were at the deadline when they decided to dump Aaron Savali. And certainly Kyle Manzardo is a good prospect. They got a good first base prospect for him. But it just, I don't know. It didn't make sense to me. But if you're still hanging around and there's only going to, it's only going to cost you a few $1 million in salary to pick these guys up, I mean, there's no harm in it. They follow the rules. So I'm not upset about it. I just, it's a little puzzling to go that way. Anyway, Pablo against Giolito. Then it's going to be Sonny Gray against Tanner Bybee. And then Joe Ryan against Gavin Williams. Williams only went one inning last time out, came out after making a play in the first inning, didn't go back out for the second. So Twins have not actually got that great of a look at him. So that'll be an interesting one because Williams, obviously one of the better pitching prospects in baseball. Also, Twins will miss Cal Quantrill, Logan Allen, and Xavier Curry. Curry, the Twins got to last time out. But those are the three that, if you're the Guardians, you probably would want the Twins to miss, and then vice versa with Keuchel and Maeda. So both teams, again, lined up exactly the way you want it. All the guys getting the days off help. I'm again excited to see what Louis Varland can bring as a reliever and what kind of role they're going to put him in, because the stuff is there to the point where if he can keep it in the ballpark, I mean, he could have a Griffin Jax effect. I'm not saying he's going to be as good Griffin Jax, but bad Griffin Jax has also been pretty bad of late. It's kind of every other day. But again, if Varland's stuff is legit, that helps so much, especially with if they can bring back Brock Stewart. That puts their bullpen in a really, really strong spot. Now, whose bullpen is not in a really strong spot? Cleveland. And so they're coming off. I mean, it's a series they took 2 or 3 from the Rays, but they had to scrap, they had to claw, they had to fight, and that's what they do. That's what Cleveland's good for. Class A's worked 2 of the last 3, and then 4 of the last 6 days, not games. Stefan has worked 4 of the last 6 days, including 21 in the lost Sunday. Ronaldo Lopez has only pitched once with the Guardians. He should be good to go. Eniel De Los Santos pitched on Saturday. They used like the entire bullpen Saturday, and every single reliever has worked in the last 2 days, if not both. So Eli Morgan will be down after throwing 31. Sandlin threw 35 over the last 2. Moore, just like Lopez, has appeared once. That was in Saturday's win. Henches has worked the last 2. So this is going to be, they're going to need 6 from Giolito. And if it's the Giolito that the Twins have seen and handled, it might be 6 innings, 6 earned on a couple of homers, which I think Twins fans would certainly take. So they got the rotation lined up, but their bullpen, I'm not going to say it's in shambles, but it's certainly not where they would like it. Also, too, we seem to still hear a lot of the health narrative. Twins have stayed healthy while the Guardians have had to deal with injuries. And I just don't think that could be any less true. We talked about Bieber and McKenzie, both on the 60-day IL, progressing towards returns, but who knows if or when we'll see those. They only have one other player on the injured list, and he's been there for about 3 weeks. Michael Kelly, relief pitcher, free agent they brought in this offseason from Philadelphia. Other than that, this team is 100% healthy on the position player front. And honestly, I mean, yeah, it stinks that it's Bieber and McKenzie, but their pitching staff in general is not in as bad a shape as I think we may have been led to believe during the season. So meanwhile, the Twins, and we keep talking about all the rehab stints and all that stuff that they're working on, but they're right now, they have 7 pitchers on the injured list. Cantorino, you don't have to count. Malley, Paddock, Alcala, De Leon, Ortega, and Stewart. Certainly not all of those affecting things the same, but all guys who are injured. It's not a narrative thing. It's a legit thing that has happened. And then position players, 5. Kirilloff, Miranda, Gordon, Buxton, Michael A. Taylor. I mean, that's 55.6% of what would be a pretty good everyday lineup. So the narrative that only the Guardians have had to deal with injuries in this race is downright hysterical. Like, it couldn't be less true than the Twins have dealt with no bad luck, because also has Buxton struggled, especially down the stretch. And then Carlos Correa, your $30 million shortstop, not having the best year. Defensively, he's been fine, but I don't know. I think it's kind of like it's been the opposite season for the Twins and Guardians, in the sense that the Guardians have had more difficult things happen to them. And certainly injuries have been part of it. McKenzie's barely pitched. Bieber's been out for half the year. But I feel like that logic maybe wasn't applied last year when the Twins went through that stuff. And Tyler Thornburg was throwing innings for the Twins in the middle of the season and that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's just funny how the narrative can change at any given time. Playoffs around the corner. And so if you have a season-long team that's still going, good for you. But if you are like the rest of us who very long ago let the ship sail on this fantasy season, here's how you can stay in the game. Playoffs are around the corner, and the clock is ticking on your chance to win 100 times your cash on daily fantasy baseball. Baseball's never been more exciting than it is right now. You get studs like Ronald Acuna Jr. hitting the ball 122 miles per hour, and Mookie Betts trying to steal the MVP from him, and Shohei Ohtani, who even without pitching is going to make an incredible amount of money this offseason. But you can pick more or less on stats for these guys: home runs, hits, strikeouts, whatever you want, for up to 100 times the payout of the money you've put out. So get your picks right, and you could win big. Again, if you want to win 100 times your money, you can just stack these guys up. Up to, I believe it's up to 9 guys that you can have. So I mean, it all depends on your comfort level and your confidence level, which some people don't have as much confidence as others when it comes to building a fantasy team. But the nice thing is, this isn't season long. This is just daily. So check it out. Use the promo code Locked On the app, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. So terms and conditions apply. But if you see Sleeper's terms of use for details, you can join. And so it's so much fun, and you're limited really by your own creativity and the amount that you're willing to offer up there. So a whole lot of fun. Again, use the promo code Locked On the Sleeper app, and $100 match on your first deposit. Okay, we're coming down the home stretch. Progressive Field, Twins Guardians for the opener. It's on Monday, 5:10 p.m., so you're going to get Pablo against Lucas Giolito. You can catch every pitch of the Twins' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Twins. Over the last 2 weeks, Twins 6-6, Guardians 7-5. So Guardians 1 game up, or 1 game gained in the division, which goes to show that while the Twins have not played all that well, it is excessively difficult to erase deficits at this time of year. Should Twins fans feel good about a 5-game lead? Yes. Should they feel infallible? No. But Fangraphs says 94.6% with a 5-game lead. 0.2% for the Tigers right now with an 8-game deficit. So if we were to, let's say the Twins sweep the Guardians, and then suddenly they would also be 8 games out. I think if the Twins sweep them, you're looking at like a 0.1% chance, because you look at the Guardians at 0-2 now, add 3 days and 3 fewer games left in the schedule. It would basically cancel out any chance the Guardians would have. Now, with that said, can the Twins sweep? They haven't been super great on the road this year. They did take 2 of 3 in Texas against a Texas team that I just don't really understand right now. But the Twins are 31-37 away from home. So they've been okay. I mean, it's not terrible on the road, but it's not, it's not life-changing either. But we'll see, we'll see how it goes. If the Twins can sweep, I would say that, that drops the odds to like 0.1%. Now, if the Guardians sweep and get it within 2, I don't know, let's find another divisional race where a team is down 2 right now. And then at that point, we can kind of just guess based on, the rest of the way this is all going to go. Let's see. Right now, it's not giving me the standings I want. I'm thinking it's going to be, let's see, Tampa's 2.5. Texas and Houston are game out. We'll just check where Tampa is right now, because that's probably going to be the closest approximation as to where the Twins could be in 3 days. 31.5% for the Rays, who are down 2.5. So I feel like a sweep would hurt the Twins' chances significantly, but it wouldn't drop it to the point where the teams are even, which, again, they're not even. They're 2 games apart in the standings. But this is, again, what you play for. This is what you should want to watch as a fan. Everything's at stake. And the Twins sweep, I think it's over. And then let's just take a look quick at who's hot and who's not coming into the series. Over the last 2 weeks, the Twins have 4 hitters with an OPS over 1,000, and you can probably guess the usual suspects. No, not Carlos Correa. But how about Royce Lewis, 1,005, Jorge Polanco, 1,014, and Max Kepler, 1,032. In the last 2 weeks, Royce Lewis has 6 home runs and 16 runs batted in. So the Twins have driven in 70 runs, and 16 of them belong to Royce Lewis. Like, just an incredible stretch. Jorge Polanco has done a tremendous job commanding the strike zone. Really, the guys struggling the most are, again, who would you expect? Joey Gallo has 0 hits in the last 2 weeks. 0 for 13 with some walks, $188 on base, and nothing else to speak of. Jordan Luplow hit a big home run, but otherwise is hitting $136. Christian Vasquez is 2 for 26 over that time frame. A lot of guys quieting down. Edouard Julien's had a tough stretch here where he struck out 18 times and just walked 4. So, there'll be a lot to watch here. What Carlos Correa shows up down the stretch. We all know he's going through stuff. We're not trying to diminish or demean what he's capable of. It's just been a bit of a struggle. Pablo, last 2 weeks, 2 starts. He's allowed 8 earned in 11 innings. So, again, this pitching staff, 4.55 ERA, team has gone 6-6. There's certainly room for improvement. There's certainly room for, some other guys to take steps forward. I'd like to see Edouard Julien start swinging it a little better. Matt Wallner, too, 736 OPS, but a 182 average and a 364 slugging. He's actually got a higher on base, 372. So again, he's not driving the baseball either. So the Twins are a group of haves and have-nots right now. There's some guys who are really swinging it well. Unfortunately, Michael A. Taylor going on the injury list. He was one of those guys, 4 home runs in the last 2 weeks. But in general, offense has been solid. Pitching staff has been acceptable. And that's how you go 6-6 and spend pretty much the entire season at or around 500. Now, before we get out of here, Guardians, Bo Naylor has been a man ablaze the last 2 weeks with 1,064 OPS. But beyond that, Gabriel Arias. I'm going to get killed for that one. 945 OPS in the last 2 weeks. Not taking any walks, though. So can be exploited at the plate. The rest of the offense, other than Ramon Laureano, has really, really struggled. So, again, if the Twins can keep the score down, or if they can keep the Guardians offense down, especially Bo Naylor and Arias, they've got a really good chance to come out of this series in good shape. Bybee has made 2 starts in the last 2 weeks, 4 earned in 11 innings. But yeah, the guys the Twins will miss: Xavier Curry, 9.64, Logan Allen, 9.0, and Cal Quantrill only made 1 start. It was pretty good, but he struggled in general. So yeah, Guardians getting their best guys going for this series, and it'll be curious to see how Gavin Williams fares, because Twins were getting to him. He got hurt. It was a chance for Royce to hit that 3rd straight grand slam, and he didn't. But yeah, the Guardians pitching has not been all that great the last 2 weeks either. A 4.62 ERA and a 6.94 OPS, and they're somehow 7-5. So they always seem to find a way. They always seem to make it happen. So let's just hope it's not over these next 2 days. Again, thanks so much for being an everydayer. Please make sure to check back during the week. We'll have ample coverage of this Twins Guardians series. And not only that, we are going to talk to Tom Hackemer and a few other former Twins guys, prospects, big leaguers, and that sort of thing. We're going to have a lot of fun. And we're going to work on a lot of those guests into the offseason too, to kind of mix them in when there's no baseball going on and no free agency moves happening. So we'll see what is on the short-term docket here, but a lot to get excited about, a lot to have fun with here. And it starts with the Twins and Guardians in this opener. So that's it. That's a wrap. Thanks for hanging out with us. And make sure to check back later on for Locked On Twins post-game minute. Thanks for hanging out. Make sure you follow Locked On Twins at Brandon_Warren. Like, subscribe, give us a 5-star review or rating. Easy for me to say, on whatever platform you're listening or watching. If you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up and a subscribe. Leave a comment. We'd love to hang out with you. But otherwise, it's it. It's time. Twins need to go take care of business against Cleveland. And you've been listening and watching Locked On Twins.